ST Therma-Fuser modules are 24 by 24 ceiling diffusers with built-in temperature controls and VAV damper. Adjustment instructions are on the inside of the fold-down appearance panel. The round damper moves down to open and up to close, metering the flow of warm or cool air entering the room. The damper is mechanically positioned by a thermal element, which is both a room thermostat and an actuator. The room thermostat is a large brass cylinder containing a petroleum-based wax. The wax melts and expands when heated, pushing against a fixed piston which moves the thermostat outward. A heavy spring pulls the thermostat inward when the wax cools and contracts. Thumb wheels on the room thermostat push the two offset axles of the control arm to move the damper up or down. In the cooling mode, the damper opens on a rise in room temperature. As the room warms, the wax in the room thermostat melts and expands. This pushes the thermostat and cooling thumb wheel outward. The control arm pivots down, opening the damper and allowing cool supply air to enter the room. When the room cools, the wax contracts and the spring pulls the room thermostat inward. This pivots the control arm up, closing the damper. In practice, the airflow reaches a point to satisfy the room load, and the damper simply hovers around that point. As with all diffusers, air circulates around the room in a circular motion. Secondary air rises in the center of the room, passes over the appearance panel, and entrains with the primary air at the outside edge of the diffuser. This secondary air best represents average room temperature. To monitor room temperature, a continuous sample of secondary air is drawn around the appearance panel, past the room thermostat, and through the channel. This is accomplished by feeding primary air through a nozzle in the side of the venturi tube. The primary air blowing through the nozzle creates just enough vacuum to draw some secondary air around the appearance panel, over the thermostat, and out the other side. Changeover between cooling and heating modes is determined by supply air temperature. A second large thermostat actuator, located at the bottom of the venturi tube, senses supply air temperature. Warming the changeover thermostat changes the STHC to the heating mode by indexing the room thermostat outward. As a result, both thumb wheels are indexed outward, so that the heating thumb wheel now controls damper movement. Changeover from cooling to heating begins at supply air temperature 76 degrees Fahrenheit, 24.5 degrees centigrade, and completes at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 26.5 degrees centigrade. Changeover back to cooling begins at 72 degrees Fahrenheit, 22 degrees centigrade, and completes at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees centigrade. In the heating mode, the damper opens on a drop in room temperature. As the room cools, the wax in the room thermostat contracts, the control arm pivots down, opening the damper and allowing warm supply air to enter the room. When the room warms, the wax expands and the control arm pivots up, closing the damper. Heating and cooling set points are separately adjusted by turning the heating and cooling thumb wheels. Align the outside of each thumb wheel with its respective temperature scale. Each set point can be individually adjusted between 70 and 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 and 26 degrees centigrade. Both are factory set at 74 degrees Fahrenheit, 23 degrees centigrade. The damper moves smoothly with very little friction because of the ball bearings embedded in the hub. In addition to separate VAV heating and VAV cooling set points, the STHC has a dial-in minimum flow stop. Simply turn the dial on the side of the control arm to the desired point on the percent flow scale. Another feature of this diffuser is that the damper can be opened for balancing without opening the appearance panel by using a balancing lever next to the induction air inlet. Push this lever to the right and then up to open the damper. To close, push the lever down until it catches on the small latch. Therma-Fuser STHC, the ultimate VAV diffuser.